Welcome into Mavericks Today. I'm Harrison Graham. He is Jeffrey Cooperstein. We got a lot of stuff to dive into. We'll talk about last night's loss at Golden State to snap a 7-game winning streak. But we got to get to Colin Cowherd here, who, look, he's good at his job. I get that, but he's good for a bad take every once in a while, and this is definitely one of them. He compared Luka Doncic to an NBA Hall of Famer, which that sounds good, but it makes no sense who he compared him to. Here's what he had to say, then we'll react. Carmelo Anthony with a more refined game, better range. I don't know if I'm getting anything on the other end. I don't know if his teams will succeed in the playoffs. I don't know if he's the greatest teammate.
When I saw this quote, this was my reaction. The Westbrook meme. What are you talking about? They're not even close to the same player.
Yeah, we'll get to the teammate off the all that stuff in a second, but they do nothing similar on the floor.
Nothing.
Melo was a pure isolation scorer, which of course Luka can do, but he's not orchestrating the offense. He's not the passer that Luka is. He's not the ball handler that Luka is. Like, they probably have a similar body type. They're 6'7",
yeah, they're 6'7", 240.
Thick guys, but like they don't play similar at all.
Luka was a point guard. Melo was a 3-4 type. Yeah, it's incredible.
Go ahead and fire this take off.
The national media is dangerous for the NBA. It is. The narratives this year surrounding the Mavericks have been insane. It's gone from Luka can't win MVP if the Mavs aren't in the top 6 to now, Luka can't win MVP because the Mavericks aren't in the top 3. And now it's Luka's comparing to Carmelo Anthony, and they're calling Luka not a great teammate. If you don't watch the team on a regular basis, do not talk about the team.
That's why you subscribe to us here at Mavericks Today. Yeah, like, look, the teammate stuff, like, I get if you're not someone who watches the Mavericks who could, like, throw something out there like that, even though it's not true, just because, like, yeah, like, at times, like, his body language isn't great, although I think it's been a lot better this year. But, like, that does not equate to being a bad teammate. And, by the way, the whole can't win in the playoffs, Luka's already been to a conference finals, which Melo only did once with Denver, but never came close with the Knicks. Like,
exactly.
Nothing he really said has any validity whatsoever, which is why I'm surprised Rick Bucher, who he had on at the time, didn't kind of call him out.
He didn't say a thing.
That's actually not Luka's game at all. Like, sure, maybe the off-the-court stuff he wouldn't comment on, but, like, if I was a guest on a show and the guy having me on said, Luka reminds me as Carmelo Anthony as a player, what do you think? I'd be like, he does not remind me of that. At all. And here's why.
But this kind of begs the question, who do you compare Luka Doncic to? And I have a couple of comparisons lined up for you. I'm curious to see what you guys say down in the comment section. But there's a couple of guys that I think you can compare Luka to in NBA history, and they're few and far between.
Yeah, I think the current one is he's a more reliable James Harden, I would say.
That was one of them I had.
That's one. I think there is some overlap with LeBron, who we'll get to in a second. Like, yeah, like he doesn't like foul hunt as much as Harden. I think he's a more polished player overall. I also think he gives more effort in general, and definitely this year has been a much better defender than Harden ever was.
And I want to preface this by saying I know he's not a better all-time player than LeBron James.
But they're similar in the sense that they're both elite scorers. They can get 40 anytime they want to. They both rebound. They both get teammates involved. They're both efficient from the field and, at least average from 3. Luka this year is having a really good year from 3 at 38%. There is overlap there, and, like, don't take our word for it. Like, LeBron's a huge fan of Luka.
Absolutely.
Game. So, like, I think it's one of these things where it's like, A, there isn't a perfect comp for Luka. I think he's a very unique player. But B, I'll be honest, Coop, I don't think Carmelo Anthony would be in the top 100 players of who I would compare Luka to. There's just not much overlap there other than their body types.
I was trying to think, like, way back, like, Jason Kidd is kind of a comparison because of their playmaking ability. If you want to go way back, and obviously I never saw him play, but I know, like, a guy like Pete Maravich who could kind of do it all on the offensive end.
A little bit of Magic Johnson, I'd say, is
Magic
a creative
is a good
passer.
Not Carmelo.
No. I mean, there's just the only thing that's similar there is the body types. That's it. So, very, very weird. So, Cowherd, dust off those glasses,
tough ones, buddy.
And let's try a little harder next time. Before we get to some more relevant Mavericks news and notes, got to get signed up with Prize Picks. Listen, the Final Four is upon us. Perfect time to get in on the action as the action on the floor is heating up. Download the app today, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100. Listen, daily fantasy made easy. You pick 2 to 6 players, more or less on their stat projections that Prize Picks get you. If you hit on your picks, you get money. We got a little 3-player entry here for the Final Four. DJ Burns, 14.5 points here. I mean, that's just a gimme. The guy's been unbelievable. Take the more on that. Zach Edey has gone for 30 and 15 or more in every single game. Love the more on the 25.5 points there. And then Alex Caravan of UConn points, points, rebounds,
and assists
here?
Yes.
20. Love that value play as well, especially for a team in Alabama that plays no defense whatsoever. So UConn's going to be lighting up the stat sheet. Check it out. 10 to win 50 there. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's Prize Picks. It's easy. It's fun. You can make some bank today. All right, Coop. The 7-game win streak came to an end, and you and I kind of felt like this was going to be the toughest game of the road trip. The Warriors are trying to get in playoff form as they're in the 10 seed right now. They're kind of in a point where every game they have to win, which is going to be the case in the play-in as well. The Mavs, they battled, though. Like, I texted you with about 8 minutes left in the fourth, and I was like, all right, this one's done. I think they were down 91-79, and then
they fought till the end.
They got it tied at 94, I think, or something like that, so they made a push. I thought Dallas this is just kind of a classic, like, it's a make-or-miss league, and I thought Dallas just missed too many open looks.
Yeah, they had plenty of open looks down the stretch in order to capitalize and take the lead and kind of break the dam, so to speak, and they never could really do it. I'm not going to get too worked up over that loss, like you said. They go 4-1 on the road trip. They were on a 7-game winning streak as well. That game could have gone their way. They made a couple more shots, but I'm not too bent about it.
Yeah, look, P.J. Washington, he had a few really good looks that he didn't knock down. Now, he didn't make 3 in the fourth quarter after starting 0 for 6, but I'd say out of those 7 misses, probably 4 of those were kind of just catch and shoot open ones.
Yep.
Like, if he makes 1 or 2 of those, like, this is probably a different outcome. I did think he did provide a little more scoring punch, though, which was nice. If he could just be a little more efficient, that would go a long way for this team. Daniel Gafford obviously had to play heavier minutes with no Dereck Lively, who we'll talk about in a second. He was kind of good, not great last night. Draymond Green had a big block on him late in the game that made a big difference as well. So
one point on Gafford is I think he's going to have to play a lot more. We saw last night Dwight Powell is unplayable. You cannot play him.
I was going to get to that. Like, Powell's unplayable. And Kleba, he gives you decent defensive punch. He cannot score.
Nope.
And by the way,
he's scared
what was
of
he
it.
doing in the fourth quarter, dribble driving?
Oh, my goodness.
Like, yes, he needs to shoot open threes, which he's scared to do right now. But, like, I don't need him putting the ball on the deck and trying to take a tough contested 2, which he did, and then Kidd checked him right out.
Absolutely.
Like, he was terrible last night. But he's going to have to play some at least because Dereck Lively, they said, could be out up to 2 weeks. So let's say it's the max 2 weeks. That means he's missing the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, 7 games remaining, so hopefully the Mavs can lock up that top 6 seed and get that full week off before the postseason, and Lively can be ready for game 1. If I had to guess right now, and this is not knowing anything, I'd anticipate him being out.
Yeah, and look, it's not the end of the world as long as he's back for the playoffs. Would I prefer him to get at least a game or 2 in before the playoffs, considering he is a rookie and, not playing for 2.5 weeks and then playing in a playoff game is, that's a big jump. Yes, but if he's not ready, he's not ready. Like, if you have to sit him until game 1 of whenever that is, you have to do that, obviously.
No doubt.
But what you really need to do, Coop, and make sure is to lock up that top 6.
Yeah, you have to lock up this top 6. I think these next couple of games, we have a back-to-back here tomorrow against the Atlanta Hawks and then the Warriors on Friday. Those are 2 massive games. I mean, they all are down the stretch, but you got to start winning these games. I think if you go 4-3, I think you're in the top 6. Yeah. 5-2 probably locks you in.
5-2 pretty much locks you in because you have the tiebreaker over Phoenix, who you're still 2 games up on right now. So they would have to go 7-0, essentially. No, that is what they would have to do. And even then, if you go 5-2 and they go 7-0, you still
win.
have it. So, I mean, 4-3, I think you feel pretty comfortable. Like, I don't think Phoenix is running the table. And that's how you have to look at it. Give us your concern level of Dereck Lively's injury, scale of 1 to 10. I'll go 5. I mean, it doesn't sound like he's going to miss playoff action, but it makes these next few games a little tougher.
I think I'm going to go a little higher. I think I'll go like a 6.5 just because his impact on this team is so crucial, especially, and we saw it last night with Dwight Powell in the game. I mean, there is a significant upgrade. And an underrated part of Lively's game is his passing, especially out of the pick and roll. When he gets the ball at the nail and they're 4-on-3, he can make the pass to the corner, and he does make the right decision more often than not. And I think that's really where the Mavs missed him on the offensive end last night.
Yeah, and just so people know, as we sign out of here, this is the remaining schedule. Tomorrow, Atlanta at home.
Gotta win.
Gotta win that game. Warriors at home on Friday.
Tough game again.
Not a must-win, but like, I'll put it this way. You lose to Atlanta, then you really have to win on
Yep.
Friday. So tomorrow's critical. Then you get the Rockets at home on Sunday. At Charlotte, must win. At Miami is going to be tough. Detroit at home, must win. And then at the Thunder. So the way I look at this, Coop, Hawks at home, Hornets on the road, Pistons at home. If you win those 3, you just got to find one more.
Got to find one
and
more.
You're going to be in the top 6.
And hopefully that game, that final game against the Thunder doesn't even matter.
Yeah, ideally you just sit that day.
Exactly.
And play Jaden Hardy a bunch, and
get AJ Lawson some run.
Yeah, I'd like to get Hardy some run in a game or 2 down the stretch, just in case. I mean, like something could pop up, and he's a guy who's given you some minutes before, so I'd like to get him in there. Hell, get Omax some minutes on the last game of the season as well, because we know he's not going to play in the playoffs. All right, if you want the Mavs to win the title, hit the subscribe button. We're still riding high here. Last night doesn't change that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good battle. In fact, in a lot of ways, Coop, I almost felt better about last night because they easily kind of could have been like, all right, we won the first 4 games of this road trip. We don't have to win this game. Let's just kind of call it a night. But they hung in there. They tied the game up and almost stole a game, really. And quite frankly, if they call that travel on Klay Thompson, which it should have been.
Mavs are shooting for the lead.
They might have stolen that game. So I feel good about where this team is
absolutely.
at. Obviously, we're keeping tabs on Dereck Lively. But I think this team's a dark horse to win a championship, which is not a place we thought they'd be just a month ago. So hit the subscribe button. He's Coop. I'm Harry. We'll see you guys next time.